Inspector Gadget. Do-do-do-do-do-do. I just gotta check and make sure it's not gonna go below the belt. When tying a tie, you wanna make sure that it hits the belt. It doesn't go longer, doesn't go shorter, but right at the sweet spot. Oh yeah. Hard to wear French cuffs and a Fitbit at the same time. We can, but it's not comfortable at all. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Oh yeah. All right, today's story time is called The Chickenpox Christmas Disaster. No, just kidding. So, to set things up, as you probably already know, I've got 3 brothers. 3. It's a lot of brothers. So, typically, when you have a lot of siblings, when one person gets sick, everybody gets sick. It sucks. It also usually means the parents get sick, but in this case, it means that all the siblings get sick. Now, I do not remember who brought chickenpox home, but it is December time. It is nearing the end of December. It's about Christmas time. And my brother comes home, and he has the dreaded chickenpox. Yes, those tiny little red dots that are all over the place.
Today's topic is chickenpox, eruption of blisters on the skin and mucous membranes. Severity varies from a few spots to a rash that covers the whole body.
If the red dots weren't bad enough, it's the fact that they itch. That they itch so badly, you just want to scratch them. But if you scratch them, not only can they scar up and be permanent scars, it also spreads it further, and it's not good to keep scratching.
You know what makes the itching even worse?
That you don't stop talking about it?
So, you can imagine my mother's despair and distraughtness. Is that even a word? Distraughtness, now it is, when one of her boys comes home and has it. And we all end up getting it. And we are little. We are probably 10 and below, so I was probably like 6. I'm just going to say that one. So we're all really young. In fact, we're probably younger than that. And we all have the chickenpox. And it is Christmas morning. And we all have the chickenpox. Not my parents, but all the boys have them. Now, as stated previously, chickenpox are really itchy, and you want to scratch. Now, the hard part about this is, especially when kids have the chickenpox and they're not great at, self-discipline and not scratching themselves, you want to have the least amount of resistance and rubbing on their bodies as possible, which means the less clothing, the better. Now, my mom did not want 4 boys just running around naked everywhere. That's not going to work, especially since we usually have family over. So, no. But what we ended up deciding was that we used to wear gigantic t-shirts for pajamas. Everybody still wears these. Not everybody, but a lot of people still wear them. So we had t-shirts that would go down to like our knees. Just, huge adult shirts. They were comfy. Plus, it meant that we had minimal amount of clothing rubbing on our chickenpox. The little red bumps, we had less of it. So, now here's the other fun part. Because we had long enough shirts to cover everything, my mom decided that the other thing that usually people wear that's the most restrictive and pushes the most is underwear. So she decided, hey, you know what? Since the shirts are long enough, we don't need underwear. We're fine. We just weren't going to sit down, like, cross-legged, and it's not like we were going to run around the room going, ah, look at us, like, lifting our shirts up like some little kids, because we were older than that. But, so we had nothing on underneath these long shirts. Now, all seemed fine. That Christmas, however, we had relatives over. Now, my relatives, especially grandparents and uncles, they love filming like everything. every family event, every activity, they had to have that camcorder glued to their hand. Not terrible.
You remember that song you did in college and that musical, that dance thing?
Not terrible, because you get memories, but yeah. So my uncle comes, and he has a camcorder in his hand, and he's recording everything in this camcorder. And he decides, while recording, kids opening gifts and things like that, and stockings and all the snow outside for fun, he decides, hey, I'm going to have all the boys line up, and we'll talk about their chicken pox. So he has all 4 of us line up together, and his camcorder in his hand. And he looks at us and says, okay, boys, show us your chicken pox. And all 4 of us, not thinking, took our shirts and we lifted them up above our heads to show off our chicken pox. And immediately, my uncle goes, show us your chicken pox. Whoa! And just points the camcorder down because he realizes 4 little boys just flashed him on a camera. He was not expecting that. Nor do I think anybody else in the room was expecting that. And now you gotta remember, uncle, aunts, other cousins, boys and girl cousins, grandparents, yeah, a whole lot of people got a very, very interesting sight that they were not expecting at all. So, be very careful what you ask someone for when you don't know the circumstances. But it made for a great memory. Now, there's a second part to this. We got for Christmas, Santa deemed it needed that we get Sit&Spins.
Sit&Spin, Sit&Spin, kids just love to Sit&Spin.
Now I know what you're thinking. Nowadays, Sit&Spin is an interesting phrase. But, if you remember these old toys, they were called Sit&Spins. You basically sit down on them, usually cross-legged. They're just little plastic toys, and they were disconnected from the base in some way. So you have the top part where you grab, and you'd start to turn it. Now, you're sitting on the base, which is disconnected from that top part, so the base is now spinning. You're just grabbing that top part, and you're spinning and spinning and spinning. They made great fun back when my equilibrium was still young, and I didn't have to care. Now they kill me, and I'm too big to sit on them. So, being on a Sit&Spin, we would just spin ourselves around. Here's the hard part. Every parent or guardian loves to take pictures of their kids when they are enjoying their Christmas presents. Here's the problem. What happens when you sit cross-legged and wrap your legs around a Sit&Spin and you're only wearing an extra large t-shirt? You betcha! Every one of those pictures that my mom took of us using the Sit&Spins, she had to then physically cut and crop out because this was in the early 90s. So it's not like Photoshop was a thing, really. So she had to cut out parts of those pictures to put them in the baby books because we were still flashing the camera. Didn't even think about it, didn't care. We were just having fun sitting and spinning. So that is what happens when chickenpox attack your Christmas. And you decide to take pictures and videos of those moments. So, yeah, a lot of stuff happened that Christmas, and pretty sure my relatives saw way more than they wanted to. But it was still a fun Christmas to remember. And every time we bring it up, my mom just goes, oh. Because she remembers my uncle saying, okay, now show us your chicken pox. And all 4 of her boys, not thinking, just whee, and flashing everybody. So, thanks for coming back to story time, and hope you have a wonderful day. Maybe you got some funny Christmas memories too. Either way, like and subscribe. Have a great day.